to you about the progress so far that I've made on the Halo Reach knife. If you remember, I said I would make some subtle changes to the way that this thing is designed just because it's coming from a video game that came out many years ago to where, you know, everything is pixelated, it's blocky, it's not quite as smooth as some of the renderings that we have now. So I made the rise in the blade a little bit more subtle and a little bit less intense to where it wasn't going completely perpendicular to where the blade rises from. What I've also done is I have ground the bevels a little bit higher. In the game, the bevels only go up to about here. And that's a really, really short bevel for a more than quarter-inch piece of steel that I have. So while that provides a lot of support, I feel that if this knife is going to be a little bit more utilitarian, I want those bevels to be a little bit higher. I also got to use my 10-inch contact wheel for the first time. It wasn't as steep of a learning curve as I thought it would be, and the bevels came out great. I freehand grind everything, so I had a lot of practice on flat platens. So the curvature of the wheel wasn't really a big deal. We'll see how that goes when I use finishing belts, but because that's where I usually have issues with. But this has gone very, very well so far. Really like the way this thing is turning out. Now all I have to do is heat treat. Now a reminder on the way I heat treat, it's very, very simple. This is ADCRV2 steel, so it's just as simple as, you know, 1080 and, you know, other carbon steels that require a medium speed quench. I've got my canola oil that I'm going to preheat to around 135 to 160 degrees for the quench, and I'm going to heat this up 3 times and let it cool after each time, and that's my normalization cycle. And then on the 4th heat, that's when I quench. That is my heat treating process. It's worked out for me pretty well so far with this particular steel. My forge is not the greatest, but it gets the job done, and it's what I have for right now. So let's get to it. Well, I think that went exactly to plan. I had a lot more preparation than the last time I tried to do this with 3 cameras. With this one, the one that took the video over there, and my phone. So I sort of like prepped that out all in advance and figured out what I was going to do in terms of actually capturing the footage. It's a pain in the ass to do this by yourself, but that's what I've got to work with. So I think everything went well. I do think I need to make another pair of heat treat tongs, ones that are like sort of forked on the top, and then it's got this so that it cradles the tang of the knife in between those two, and you can really get it clamped down during heat treat. But that wasn't too bad. It is warmer. It's around 85 degrees, so it didn't take long at all for that thing to heat up and we can get the temperature. So saved me a lot of time on that. I'm going to keep this heat treated blade mashed in between those two pieces of steel to make sure that it stays straight. The tang came out relatively straight. I don't think it bent one way or another, which is a problem that I've had on previous knives. But I think that the way I held it for heat treat really made sure it stayed straight. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to let it sit in there for a little bit, and then take it downstairs, grind away some of that crap that gets on there during heat treat, and then I'll go ahead and put it in the oven at 420 degrees for 1 hour, and then take it out, let it cool, and then stick it back in at 420 degrees for another hour. That's my temper process. So very, very simple. Just use a common household oven, which it's kind of hilarious when I figured out that that's how you temper a knife. Just stick it in the oven like you would like a loaf of bread. But yeah, it works. So I think everything went well today. Once it gets all tempered, I'll take all that crap off of there. I get better and better at this every single time I do it. Faster and faster. Less nervous, more confidence, more planning. That's the big one, more planning. So I'm happy.